Hey everybody, welcome back to Roadside Nuggets. I love you all so much, and that is what we got to give ourselves a lot of in these moments. There is quite a bit of a storm that is coming. Everybody is quite feeling this on a lot of different levels. Um, in regards to everyone in their lives and their experiences, um, just don't get too irritable with yourselves. I'll start off with that. Um, really good topic to talk about today is self-observation. Okay, observation in yourself and observation all around with everybody. Okay, because this is going to take extreme amounts of what mom would call tactfulness and discernment, right? Because with observation, the more you see, the more you're aware of. There has to be a certain amount of what do we call it, discipline or a practice to apply to that awareness, so you don't get too overwhelmed, too swamped, or just take it out of where you're at, basically. So with that energy, basically, it is a lot of tactfulness, really slow, steady with yourself, really observing where you're at, what's going on with everyone around you. In these moments, you're going to notice a lot of things are going to start being more in a unity sense. It's going to be starting triggering everybody around you in a lot of different unique ways. So say you're having an experience, and most of the people that have been founding Mom, who have had sessions, who have been doing their personal work, your vibration and consciousness has a bigger, what we would call gene print or imprint on the collective consciousness field. So more of your actions, more of your choices and your thoughts have more of a push on the collective consciousness than other beings who are what we'd say unconscious, low vibrational, or not really expansive in their being. They're not anchoring a lot of light in their vessel. So this not only makes them extremely more able to be manipulated and conformed into what we'd call thought forms. This is how a lot of dysfunction and things on the planet have been allowed to exist and have been occurring. There's massive, what we call, energetic clouds of thought forms that are established in the lower dysfunctional ego mind. So these thought forms have a lot of collective energy, meaning more than one person on this planet has thought about this, is currently thinking into this thought, or has placed a lot of energy behind this thought, meaning they have added to this cloud. Now, if you look at how many people are on this planet, billions and billions of people, that's a massive cloud with a lot of momentum from a lot of different people. So, someone who has a lower vibration, someone who has a low consciousness and is not anchoring a lot of light in their being, they are more docile. They are more able to get caught up in this cloud, this storm cloud of energy and thought, and get more pulled into that reference, so to speak. This is why you see it so easy for a lot of people just to jump in the same bandwagons, a lot of people just to kind of conform or be just like, want to be like other people. In a lot of ways, energetically, on the deeper parts of their being, they are actually being energetically pulled into that because they don't have that strong spirit, the will, the fire, their own confidence, their own stability in themselves. They are more easily pulled into collective thoughts, which allows them to think they think the same thing when actually is more of like they are being kind of pushed into it energetically. They have no anchor to hold their own self-awareness, their own discernment. Therefore, it's always going to be what the collective general thinking is going to be. It's going to pull them into that. That's what happens. So when we start to observe ourselves way more, when we start to pull away from that collective thought form and we start to become more and more aware of ourselves, this starts to establish a different form of gauge in yourself, an internal compass and discernment that allows you start to see where your energy and another energy is getting mixed up. You're more consciously aware of your energy, which allows you to observe when it is a collective energy or if it's your energy, if it's your intention or if it's something coming in, right? And this is, it seems like a big step, but you're really not that far from it. It really just requires a few practices and actually intentional effort. And then you'll start to be able to feel the difference and discern the difference very quickly. And you just keep allowing this process, and your body can organically move with it because it's already designed for these practices and processes. So, meaning the body has its own blueprint. Okay, the avatar that we are in is coming online more and more fully, with all the activations, with all the awakenings going on within the eternal soul. Bring it to the surface. The physical body can interface with it and integrate with that higher awareness and higher information, meaning the avatar's ability and capacities that are on a higher level, which we haven't really come in contact with. Most of humanity hasn't. So that's going to allow that to be a new possibility for everybody. So as the body is starting to stretch and move towards this direction, the body is going to be capable of doing a lot more things, and the same processes that usually took it longer will be able to do a lot quicker and faster, because the physical body is now more aware. It's more conscious. It's way more activated online, and it senses the divine blueprint for your physical body. It knows exactly what 100% divine blueprint alignment with source code is in your genetic print. So that process is going to be a constant, steady stream that your body is going to be moving back into. Okay, meaning it's not something you're going to have to consciously make your body do. I mean, your body already pumps your heart, moves your blood. I mean, your brain work. All these different things already work without your conscious every single day, every single moment. Management of that. Your physical body is fully aware of that system, the process, and how to go about doing that efficiently without your conscious, interjection at all. Meaning this is another part of that process that the body, once it becomes fully aware of it, will be able to generate it on its own and expand upon it into greater capacities later on, as it just keeps following through with the same process, thus building on that foundation, making you be able to expand further on that same foundation through consistency. You guys probably have to rewind all that back to hear that all over again, but it's very important, okay, for you to hear that, for your body to feel that, because it's going to get a lot of things activated and moving just in your physical being right now, to just receive it and just feel the codes go through and activate your being. So with self-observation, it allows us to start to realize the other realms that are interlayered into our reality. Okay. All of creation is conscious, fully. Humanity are the only beings in creation that are not fully 100% conscious yet, as a whole. Okay. So it doesn't matter one, too few people are doing it. As a whole means the entire collective. In true unity consciousness, when one individual is out of alignment, the whole is out of alignment. That's how unity works. So we, as a whole, are not there yet. We are getting there. So with this process that's occurring right now, in self-observation, humanity is starting to become more aware of the different multifodes of reality, of how it works in their daily life. Life is not this linear 3D constant routine process. From morning to night, wake up, go to work, school, family, friends, fun, go to bed, repeat the process over again. We are starting to reach a point in the collective consciousness when it becomes overall and generally perceivable for everybody to start focusing and seeing the higher timeline and perspective dings everywhere, of what is life to them. Meaning, no longer we're looking at these little close, enclosed box things. These higher forms, these higher realities are starting to be more perceivable to us. Because this everyday linear timeline thing is not really doing it for us anymore. Hasn't been for a while. We're starting to be able to admit this to ourselves. Meaning, what's going to fill this now once this goes? And that's where the human anxiety and fear starts to kick in, because it has to do something, right? And this is where the human dysfunction and needing to do something is actually taking place and overriding our ability to be self-observant and realize what is happening. Needing to do something is just a distraction from what is already happening. We have to pull our focus back to the present moment of what is happening, not really focus on what we're doing, because the doing will be dictated by what is happening. But if we're not worried about what's happening and more focused on what we're doing, we're always going to be out of time, out of present moment, out of alignment with what actually needs to be taken on and dealt with, because we're not focused first on what is happening first in the moment to actually figure out what to do about it. Right? It's simple, yet that's where the ego keeps flipping the consciousness. and flipping around the awareness of where the focus needs to be at and where our attachments are at, really. And so we dissolve this and we pull it back into centeredness, heart-centeredness, and this energy about self-observation of all the different layers to yourself. What is going on in a moment? Getting used to feeling your body's awareness. When you go outside the ground, do you feel the energy shift? Do you feel how your body feels when you go outside and ground? When the energy releases out of your being? Do you observe what stays? Are you aware of what stays after you've grounded? Do you go further into that energy? On a day-to-day basis, building your awareness more and more. What is constantly in your being and what is constantly moving in and out. Getting a good grip on your whole body's process. What is your body actually doing with the energy? Is it fully operating? Is it getting stuck somewhere? Does it need to be really felt into and consciously rerouted back into alignment, back into flow, because something we've put there is blocking that? Getting really good at this is going to help you so much more with what is coming in, with communicating with the angels, with tapping in with anything, with any kind of consciousness on this planet. Because everything is always going to be a reflection of you. And so if your awareness is not on it, you're not going to see it. More so, you can also be manipulated and deceived by your own awareness because of your own blocks and filters, because of your own distrust and lack of faith in yourself. You see, these are not things you can shortcut through. These are things you cannot bypass. At the same time, they offer you the greatest and grandest experience all moments, as long as you honor them. And they are simple. However, they're going to test everything in your being to be fully authentic and true to yourself and transparent with what is present moment going on with you and in your experience. What is highest to focus on right now in these moments? What's highest to, transform and push through and expand on? What do we need to let go of? What we need to, stop distracting ourselves with, because these are things that may be an awareness, yes, but they're not highest for us to focus on them right now. We need to go over that one again. Yes. Focus on awareness, yes, but we need to be letting that go every single moment. Only the things that keep coming back to us, that keep staying, those are what we need to focus on now in these moments. Okay, just because it's in your awareness, yes, no one's saying it's true or not, but it may not be highest for you to fully focus on that now, but if we're not present with ourselves, we could be off the timeline, focus on something way out of the present moment that could shift at any moment. And in that moment when it shifts, you may not know because you're not in the present moment, meaning you're going to keep continuing down the wrong timeline now, attached to something you thought is supposed to be, and the higher idea was already reached. Another higher truth is already realized, and now the energy is moving towards that. We cannot navigate ahead of God. You can't do it, okay? God is in the present moment. Therefore, we have to be in the present moment in order to be guided by her. But if you're so focused on over here, way out of present moment, it's not going to help you. It's going to distract you, confuse you, manipulate, and deceive you in a lot of ways, because your ego is just going to try to figure out and wants to know, as a deep attachment and wanting to know things. And we have to be okay with not knowing. We have to be okay with not understanding, and still being able to surrender, still being able to trust, have faith, be able to follow through with that trust and faith, not even knowing still. And then the realizations and the awareness will come after. And that's the true gift, to have the real true confirmation and know that because you trusted, because you followed through with it, it still was the truth, even if you didn't have that solid confidence. And it does a lot for you in your confidence. It does a lot for you in your ability to open up more spiritually and be more vulnerable to the more etheric parts of yourself that are every moment doing their best to work with your physical self and your physical experiences here on the planet to get anchored in and integrated with your being. There's a lot of soul work going on the planet, and truly don't really fully see all the beautiful things Mom's doing in these moments, but we are living them, and we will become them, soon, very soon. definitely drink lots of water. I tell you right now, my body has definitely been shifting a lot in the last couple of days. Definitely more hungry, more food, more fluids, more water. Definitely being outside and just getting more deeper groundings in. So yeah, there definitely is a lot of signs. The body is already organically preparing for lots of massive new energies to come in, and these are just the beautiful things. The body just organically in tuned with mom in the present moment, understands, just knows what needs to happen, what it needs to do, what it needs to start preparing for. And so it's really fascinating just to observe the body even just miraculously just doing these things, and basically just sharing, telling me what it needs, what it needs to do, and it's a wonderful partnership. It really is, and it's special. You learn to really appreciate yourself in a whole other different way, just with how beautiful and divine you are as a being, on this planet. Um, with this process too, it requires a lot more nurturing, I would say. Definitely with it, there's a lot of things that start to come in. With higher energies coming in, it starts to lift what we call like the mud at the bottom of the pond. So when the higher energies come in, it starts to like really build that vibration, and it starts to kick up all the dirt and stuff that's really been stuck to the bottom. And those are the moments you really just gotta like buckle down, be solid, because there's gonna be a lot of collective thoughts that are arising to be transformed, processed. That we're still coming in the middle of like late end part of the summertime, so still that heat part, the heat energy of the summer, and just that dimensional time frame that we're in is a lot of just purging energy still. We're still in the purging energy kind of dynamic going on globally. So this allows us to, yes, one, get a lot out, but two, there's a conscious awareness that a lot is going to come out. So also the preparation for this and what the body needs to keep doing this process to its highest, ability through however long that process is, so that really requires you being present, focus on yourself, and really feeling into what you need in these moments to really get through these moments, because everybody's going to go through it. Okay, so it's not just like one of those moments where like, you like, it's like watching the news about someone. Like, this is an experience you are going through as well. So the more you focus on it, the more you really get involved and observant of yourself, it's going to create a higher experience for yourself, a really deeper understanding. And that's fascinating. Those are things that you really can't get from anyone. You have to really just really sit with yourself in a lot of ways. Something I've been doing a lot lately, and that deep internal healing really has been very helpful. Been very, it's just been very amazing with all the reharders the angels bring back. Really a lot of the memories with the mom on mission, training, different things that, in those moments, we didn't, there's a lot of moments, on mission when mom would share things with us, stories and different teachings. And we didn't understand in that moment, like what she was talking about or really what it meant at that moment. And then we understood like later, much later in moments, that's when it occurred, and just how like mom could just see the whole timeline. And she just really squeezed the whole timeline into these moments with us where, a lot of these things are now coming back around for me. And they're starting to really connect dots for me as well. And it's really nostalgic and beautiful. And so appreciative of her in these moments of where she had the moments to do that for us and share those nuggets and those codes with us where they would activate and they would be ready. When we were ready to fully receive it, it would completely connect, and we're like, oh, wow, I get it, and even when she's not physically here, that's such a beautiful gift, to leave us, and we're very, very grateful. And so I've just kind of been going through that the last, 2 days, and really been just swimming in a sea of awareness and memories, just with her and the team and different things we went through. And she taught us about human consciousness and just the process of how this physical body is really going to kick into gear, and just how the shifts in our conscious perceptions kept happening and how rapid they were, and they moved so very fast. It was almost like inhumanly possible, just like absolutely insane with how drastic the contrast and the shifting was around, and what the body would do to respond and move that process. And if you look at that individually and then also on a global scale that much, with everyone going through an experience of that kind, holy crap, it would literally look like a shitstorm. Like so much would be happening, on that whole level. And it was really fascinating for me just to kind of just like reminisce about that and really go through those moments when she would just laid it out for us. And it all makes so much sense. It is way more, I'm way more able to like really integrate with that awareness now at this point. I'm not sure where I was on mission at that point in time when it came about, but it's like, I guess my being recorded it, but I wasn't ready to like actually integrate with that information yet. So, these are just really fascinating moments where a lot of these things are happening, the trickle outs and stuff, and just really the expansions to get us ready. Because there are massive energies that have to get integrated with, but our bodies can't interface with that energy unless it's already gone through the upgrades, had the expansions it needs to actually be ready, and the energy channels are actually ready and open, prepared and cleared out for that energy to come in and actually move through us and integrate. So these are part of the processes that have to happen before that gets here, and we are already not that long out from that. So these are getting definitely squeezed through, and this is what's happening now for everyone in a lot of intense ways to get us cleared out and ready to be able to expand and take on different things. So in a lot of ways, it's going to be kind of like that self-nurturing thing. You're going to learn either the easy way or the hard way, through lessons of how to really just slow down, take care of yourself, breathe, and, honor yourself with what's going on in your experience and get clear, get stable, get grounded, and then move through it, but there's no rush, there's no crazy, panic or spin or freaking out or anything like that. It really is just self-reflection deeply on a lot of these moments. And that's what's really going to help a lot of people with the observation. Because with the observation, it really helps pull you out of what we would call the collective perspective. 3D matrix, human society, politics, all this crap that everyone is so fixated on these days and has been forever, and the same things that are the redundancy for our issues and problems. So with this, observation, a lot of times we think our thoughts are like everyone else's until we actually look at our thoughts. And we're like, well, wait, no, I actually think differently. But then the fear comes in, we're like scared to say that we think differently. We're like, well, why do I think differently? It's more of like a undermining, undervalue of yourself. You just like, you doubt yourself that maybe you don't know. Because you think or feel differently, it's like maybe you don't know. Maybe you're confused, or, it's like so much intimidation in you being separate from what a greater majority idea or thought is, and it creates this energy where like you just shut down, you are unworthy to speak up, have no voice, have no confidence even to express that you are not in on that same idea or truth. So with self-observation, it allows you to keep building this awareness of yourself. Increasingly, that most of the time in life, humanity has been living in fight or flight mode, survival mode, contradiction, basically, wanting to survive through fitting in, conformity and all that. So with that in place, most of humanity, even to this day, you ask people, well, what do you think for yourself? What do you feel? And like, what's like, what do you want to do with your life? A lot of these things they have not answered for themselves. They don't go into the answer to these questions for themselves. They don't feel that they are in a place in their life where they even need to worry about this because they're focused on what, my work, my job, or like my life is just a shit, or like all these different things, and where humanity has to pull themselves more into the self-observation point where they realize there is a lot of difference in everything, and only to the point where they get there where they realize that it's okay to be different. It's okay for things to be different in your perspective and your feeling versus what the greater majority is. And this is a big part of how humanity starts to break out from 3D conformity and like trying to be like everybody else or think like everybody else, or too scared not to be like everyone else, and understand that it's actually okay. It's absolutely okay. And even as the dysfunction is transforming and they're evolving out of this dysfunction, doesn't mean that they just completely wake up and are just embodying all these different things. But as that process is taking place, they still, no matter what, whether they're right or wrong, and whatever their awareness or whatever that is, whether they're in fantasy or dysfunction, doesn't matter. Still, at that point, they still have to be able to get to a place where they can trust themselves. Where it's not going to be collective first, collective first, collective first. You have to get to a point where they're like, okay, well, what if, like mom, what if I'm right? What if I'm right about all this? And you're getting to the point where you can actually stand on that for yourself and have that self-worth where you are actually going to respect and give that deep meaning and focus to yourself and actually diving deeper. Because if it's your truth, and if it's your energy, if it's your awareness, the only way that's going to stabilize you with that in that, the only thing that's going to build your confidence in that, in your awareness and your truth, is if you get to know that more. Because if you just stay on the surface with it and you just are like, oh, I saw this or felt this or like that, and just stay surface with it, you're not really giving the value to it, the worthiness to it, to actually feel into deeper, okay, what about this? Because you're really scared again to be wrong. And that's where everyone has those fears of being wrong, scared of being, in fantasy or whatever. And getting yourself to a point where that's, again, okay. It's okay if you go in fantasy. It's okay if you're wrong. It's okay if it's not whole awareness or truth. Getting yourself to a point where you can still go into it and actually discern that for yourself is so important, though. Because how are you going to get to the point where you can actually trust and feel fully that it's pure whole truth coming through you if you haven't done the work to actually clean out that avenue of energy, clean that part of yourself out with self-doubt, distrust is still very much attached to. There's a moment on mission. It was about over 3 years, 3 years ago. It's probably in October or somewhere, and there was an event happening in the mission house, and I didn't know what to do, and so my awareness in that moment was okay, let's go talk to mom, because I don't know what to do at this point. So I went inside the room and I talked to mom about it, and I was just kind of venting to her, expressing my awarenesses of what was going on and what I was seeing, different things, and she was like, you called out every single time, she did this funny this little girl move thing on the bed, and it was just funny watching her do it, and she was like, and if you're wrong, she's like, so what? Figure it out together then, right? And that was such a huge expansion for me in that moment. It's it wasn't really about being right or wrong. It was just about it really expressing, getting the expression out. Because if in your observation you have an awareness and you don't express it, at that point it becomes manipulatable by the ego. It becomes able to be corrupted in a lot of ways because the accountability is not there. By you sharing that and expressing it, there's accountability with that. Therefore, even if you're wrong, even if it's not pure whole truth, then the awareness can come. We can work it out. You can figure it out together with someone else who you expressed it to. But to hold back that awareness and not share it at all, and distrust and doubts, it allows you to go further into that. And because you didn't express it, now you've backed yourself up in the experience where now that you're blocked, expressing, actually getting out what you feel is your truth out of the fear that maybe it's not the truth. It's such a contradiction and denial of your own being, yet we do it all the time. You do it. And so getting yourself just to the point where it's okay even if you're wrong. It's okay if it's dysfunctional. But as long as you are ready to be accountable for whatever it is you are expressing, it's okay. Only at that point in time is it okay if you are going to take accountability for whatever it is. So therefore, when the awareness comes and you work on it with someone else, you can actually step up and transform that. So now you're in a higher evolution now with that, So the more things that come through are more pure whole truth because you took accountability for this dysfunction, transformed it. It was okay because it allowed you to see it. You see, you have to be able to pull yourself out of the whole judgment, opinion, and like condescending, lower stuff, the lower perspective, and look at the higher. What it's allowing you to do, the opportunities it's providing you, is to expand, transform, clean your shit up, and be able to bounce it off other people, bounce it off other forms of energetic mirrors, so you can actually have a real physical play out of this and actually see what's going on inside, so it can't just get contorted by your own manipulation to where nobody else can see it or help you. You see? So therefore, that actually cuts the ego's legs off, being able to have your energy bounce off other love mirrors, the way Mom created all of us, to be able to reflect these things back to us so we can actually figure this out together. And it's not a lone wolf thing. It's not a thing you do by yourself. It's the point where that's where you get open, left wide open to a lot of manipulation and deception that can come in because you're just subjecting it to your own awareness and your own experiences that, again, that leaves you very limited, And so that's your own self-sabotage, your own lack of receiving that provides that back open door for the ego to come in and mess with things, right? So the whole key is to express and get it out, and therefore you can work with it once it gets out, and then we can find the higher realization of that. But all this holding in, all this holding back, all this not being vulnerable, not expressing in the highest moments, it's gonna get you. It's gonna get you big time, especially with a lot of the energy building up in these moments. The intensity is it's like a catalyst. It's no longer just like another level, but these are like launches. These are takeoffs. And these explosions are really going to provide the momentum for everyone to really punch through the walls that are backed by a lot of doubt, a lot of distrust and fear and paranoia. It is a resistance, and it's a massive thing that's kind of deterring humanity from really going to the deeper parts of ourselves. So this momentum is going to help us out a lot. It's going to really push us through in a lot of ways, a lot faster than we're going to be able to do on our own through, trying to work with our doubts and unworthiness and things. These are massive blocks that we've had for, generations after generations. They're not just new things from this lifetime. These are thousands and thousands of years of programming and conditionings that are, being eradicated and dissolved on a very accelerated rate. So as long as everyone's going through these physical experiences now, it's so much quantumly that's being funneled through it. And that's where the intensity is coming from, because we literally are collapsing and moving to the highest timeline physically in so many ways in these moments. So definitely water, drinking water. I know a lot of people are fixated on like soda and stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of weird because like we don't do that. I mean, like, it's like probably once in a rare, like probably 2-year thing. I probably saw like a soda in a fridge of ours at a mission, and it was probably for like something special. But like, I remember in 3D like how much soda consumption was like a thing, and it was so gross to see, like every time you would see someone drink something, it was soda. Every time you see someone drink something, it was like coffee, soda. It was like stuff. It was never water. And there was such a resistance to water. And I remember going to my household and like, just hearing people complain about water was so ridiculous. They're like, water doesn't taste like anything. Water tastes gross to me. And it's so insane because it's a real thing. It's like people are really saying this stuff and they live by it. They like hate water. They don't want to drink water, and you can't make them because they're adults and they make their own choices. It's so ridiculous, but or like when they finally do drink water, they have to have all this like special stuff to it just to get down a glass of water. It's like, oh my god. And then I remember, it was like in the 2000, like after, it was, what was it? Like 2000, somewhere after 2010, like these water infusion things got really big. I remember those, the Mijo, I feel it's called a Mijo or something like that. But it was like this little bottle of stuff, and you just squirt it in, water. Or they had like these little water infused things. Like everybody was trying to like just put so much shit in the water to taste better, just to drink the shit with the water. It's like, why don't you just drink the water and bypass the shit? And it's like you so much pain and suffering just to do the inevitable thing of just doing the same thing you're gonna have to do anyways. And it's like you make it so much harder for yourselves. And it was literally driving me insane. And in that last year before I left for mission, that last year and a half, I was like a vegetarian. So like I was even more like of a health nut and like really just in like overboard with a lot of the just different like the different things about what vegetarians eat. I refused to go vegan. I could not do the vegan thing. I don't know how vegans ever did it with like I don't know how Faith ever did it. It's absolutely nuts. Like no cheese at all. Like I could not do the whole no milk, no cheese. There was too many things that I still loved that were like a lot of pastries and stuff, but also like cheese, like pizza and things like bread. Like come on, I can't do the vegan thing. And it was like so vegetarian. It was like as far as I was gonna go, but I saw it such a massive duty to humanity. I was like, well, I'm doing my part, and just how like it just there was no joy in any of the food. I don't even know how I got on this whole thing, but I guess we're talking about it right now. And just so food and everything, there was no joy when I was in vegetarian. Everything was about like it was about carbs. It was about protein, nutrients, and things, and then went to macros, calculating those, and then different. This is so insane with how they try to do this, and then all of it, on the surface, is just figuring out how you could get a normal diet and normal balance intake, whereas where you're cutting out meat and all these are things your body does need. So how do you get the same amount of balance with vegetarian stuff? And it's like you have to eat so much of this crap, and it's like this is insane. It's like literally as someone made this shit up, literally to like make a more sophisticated, complex process to go through accomplishing the same thing that you're gonna have to get back around to doing anyways. It's redundant. It's so fucking repetitive and retarded how I got pulled into that whole thing. That was a trigger for that. I transformed that. I was like, you mean I can really eat meat now? And it's like I need that confirmation from God that it was okay to like eat an animal again, because I was so like beside myself and confused. I was like, so like, do we eat them now? Or like, I don't know what we do. I had to hear it from like, the team. I feel like I asked Faith during that session, and I was like that the first session I had, and it was about that and eating meat and everything. And I'm pretty sure I went and got like a massive burger from McDonald's probably, and I don't feel it went well with my tummy, and I don't feel my stomach was quite ready for like how much I overdid it. I was just so excited to finally eat a burger, but I was definitely happy to go back to eating like pepperoni pizza and like all the other different kinds of pizzas that I enjoyed with all them like the meat. I had such a fixation with having like the biggest meat topping pizza like ever, like all kinds of any meat type that they had at the pizza place. I wanted to put it all on one pizza with lots of cheese and stuff. I was like such like a protein like person, but yeah. Anyways, just like those different things, like doesn't matter what experience you're in, like paying attention as much to like how you feel and how your body is really feeling in that experience, because that overall is going to also dictate how your body can process and really move energy and transform. Because if your body's moving at half capacity, if you're not like giving yourself joy, if you're not, and these are another things with a self-observation, like are you aware when you have joy? When you're in that the light ups and the spark is like when you're eating something or you're doing something, it's like, wow, I'm really enjoying this. Those are the moments that you really need to be reveling in. Just really allow yourself to sink deeply in and swim in those places. Getting used to that feeling of being in joy, doing something, having a joyful experience. That needs to be a known experience and a known feeling sensation to yourself. It's going to be a really good gauge for yourself. The way when you go further into, the experience and become more self-aware, more self-observant, these are your gauges of how you navigate and how you become more aware of where the higher energy for yourself is. And the more joy you can experience and, really expand on, those are higher forms of creative energy that flow through you versus the lower that we're just so used to being all the time, or being so used to entertaining from others. This will provide a higher experience in reality, but also be able to funnel more energy through your being, be able to create more with that, be able to push more with that, be able to be more purposeful with that, and whatever you co-create or expand on or move into in your reality, you know? So it's really, these are like massive, like, I don't know what we'll call them, like what theme energies, massive theme energies. You know, when you have a theme, it's like, it's not like a one-time thing. It's more of like an in general umbrella that everything's kind of under, you know, it's like it's an essence that kind of flows through a large general amount of things. And this is what it is. It's a theme type of energy, an essence type of energy that really is permeating all these different individual experiences right now. And it's just creating more intensity, more momentum, stirring it up the pot, allowing the deeper, more stuck stuff to really start to detach and come up to the surface, which that's going to provide a lot more, you know, momentum overall to push more into the higher vibrations, because we're pulling up. So I feel, you know, in a lot of ways, what is this? Yes, don't deny hunger. The vessel speaks to you. Yeah. Yeah, if you feel hungry in these moments, definitely allow yourself to eat. I have been eating way more than I have in like a year. Like just the last couple of like days, I've just been like just consistently, you know, my body's building up water, food, you know, moving around, being out longer moments outside, grounding, like feeling into the earth, and just like intentionally moving large amounts of energy out of my being, and just like handing it off, you know, go back inside. There's a lot more going on. And a lot of that in there too is, you know, the body is needing a lot of more raw material. So as the higher energies are coming in, the more raw material the body has to work with, it can accelerate and do a lot more multitasking wise, you know, with the energy, which could accelerate your experience even more. You know, so again, you don't know, you know, everything that's going on. So if you feel it and it's coming to you, just allow it, acknowledge it, and trust yourself, trust mom. And don't have rules, don't have belief systems, don't have like these weird, you know, things where we're like, oh, what, I've had 2 meals already, I'm good for the day. Like, no, go eat. Like, love yourself, allow yourself to expand, and allow your body to do what it needs to. And a lot of times for the body, like these higher energies, the body does need a lot of energy. So a lot of times the body will build up a raw material, so then that will convert to, you know, physical, you know, alchemy. It's an alchemy process. It will convert to physical material or energy, where it can purge that out the body, it can sweat it out, or it can just be used as a catalyst. It can use it to burn it up inside your body, anything that needs to go. You know, so it can attach the energy to the physical raw material. It can provide a catalyst for that in transformation. So all of that is taking place right now in these moments for a lot of us, if not all of us. It's interesting you are talking about this regarding being liked about others and authenticity. Doing things to blend in, I've been focused on clearing this in my current circumstances in life. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, it is no longer about fitting in. It's no longer about trying to look like anybody else, or getting other people's, you know, external validation, or anybody's, you know, external confirmation or anything. Like stop doing things to get attention. Stop doing things to get validation, or stop doing things to stop getting energy. It's like we have to learn how to generate this within ourselves, generate the energy within your own being. And that's where the true happiness, that's where the true stability is going to come from, where you actually feel foundational, is if you're generating it from within your being, not needing it to come constantly from outside yourself. Which that changes everything. It changes everything, how you see things and how you feel about yourself. And that's really what builds the confidence and the trust in yourself, is if you start seeing yourself be able to co-create that and generate that within your own being and produce that, knowing fully that that is of your own work, that's of working with mom, the energy, and actually allowing that to come up from within your being, and not needing to take from outside or need to compare with outside to feel in place. You know, there's a lot of different dynamics, how the ego tries to dance around in there and confuse you and make you think of all kinds of sorts of things, which ultimately are just distractions because they're not even real. But they take our energy if we focus on them and give our energy to them and attach to them. So Lots of deep breathing today. There's a lot of energies like just slamming in right now. Hello, good afternoon. Love you all. Um, there is, in self-observation, I feel it'd be really important, everyone. Like when you go out to meditate, or when sit down to write, or when you're just kind of like around other people, or if you're going to work, or whatever you're currently doing in 3D, in these different settings, you'll learn how to observe yourself more and more of how you feel, around different people, when you're alone, when you go into a building, like if you go to the store, like start doing these little small, experiments with yourself, test out yourself of how much you're actually observing and being able to feel, when you get out on the highway, feel yourself, has your body changed in feelings since the moment you get on the highway to the moment you get to the parking lot of the store? Getting out on the parking lot, walking up to the store, how do you feel? When you walk inside the store building, does your feeling shift? Do you feel like you're feeling or picking up on other things? This is how you start to gauge and just kind of walk with yourself as you are walking through your life, through your experience, and being constantly, every single moment, aware of what is going on around you and how your body is interfacing with it. And the more you give focus to this, the more you practice with this, the more your body's going to be able to get more awareness. It's going to be more sensitive. It's going to be more in the moment, picking up on all these different things because you've actively worked on yourself with this. But these are just small little steps in practice that will easily add up to higher ways of awareness coming into you. When you go to school, you go to your job, feeling how your consciousness and how your body shifts and feeling and the sensations, the information that come to you and ideas or thoughts, your discernment. And you're just watching it change and observing that. It really helps if you document this too. If you start really writing about this, like from this specific practice, when you practice this every day, write down your findings, write down your observations, the different things you picked up on, the things you started to see a little bit in. And even this is how the higher self works more with the avatar and the physical, because as the higher self in your soul is reading back and forth and you're working with each other, you writing this out, you're basically writing out it like a manual. You're writing out trajectory codes and informations on a piece of paper. Higher self is also seeing this and feeling this in the experience, and since you are also manifesting this on the piece of paper in that time, the reality can actually shift and align more with this experience. And since you are focused on this in that moment, it allows you to actually dive deeper into and accelerate your transformation in that area. It's a lot of stuff. You might have to rewind and listen to that one again. But that's key though. And you can see how something so simple like that can be so profound. It can be so quantum and multidimensional and assist you in like rocketing off in so many ways. And they're just simple practices Mom gave us. But now that you have heard and you have received codes and awareness and activations from this, now when you go to do this, your awareness is even more in this area. You are focused now. It's in your consciousness. So this will assist and help aid you now moving forward. If you choose to do this practice, you'll see a lot. And you'll be able to do a lot with that transformation. So I encourage you all to really get excited with that, practice it, have fun. Because self-awareness is how we are going to arrive in 5D, people. We're not going to blindly stumble into 5D. Oh, man. So Facebook sucks, man. They never have the actual comments on here. I always see like tons of comments on it afterwards, but they never show them live. It's retarded. Can't believe we're still doing this. Yeah, it's alright. It's fine. But yeah, definitely have fun. Definitely experiment. I feel that's ultimately what Mom really wants everyone to kind of, start getting used to doing. And it's not a task. It's not a chore. It's not this thing you have to do or you must do at a certain time of the day as a routine. We have to get out of that whole, dim, like condescending look to it. And like it's a grand experience. It can really provide a lot of healing and awareness to us. But we just have to get excited again. Allow the little, the inner child to really play, have fun, move around and just be spontaneous. Try it out. Go to your grandma's house. Like feel how you feel. Like just observe yourself more and the shifts and changes going on. And then slowly by slowly over moments, you'll start to become more aware of like, when did this shift occur? When did it happen? When he said something, then I felt this, or when they came into the room, I got this feeling, or this one happened. It's like you're learning how to follow and observe in real moments, present moment, what is actually occurring in all moments, every single moment in creation. And the deeper you go into this, the more you become aware of, but it requires you to focus on that and actually implement that as part of yourself now. It's like having another arm, it's like having another leg, or, it's like these are parts of your being that operate and are very much as part of you. They have a massive purpose, but you have to give meaning to it, purpose, respect to it, give, energy to that and allow that to grow now and be a part of you. And it will share so much with you, but you have to be able to hold space for that part of yourself now as like a child. Allow that to grow and really nurture that and give moments, give time, and write about it and really express and allow that to grow involved into something. And that's what it becomes, is really truly what you give into yourself. And that's also a part of that gift Mom calls self-love. Yeah, but I love you all. Definitely, if you have not already, we had the full moon yesterday. So the ceremonies and everything, the full moon ceremonies, what you want to let go, what definitely if you had set the intentions for the new moon, definitely these are what's going to be coming up to release, but still having the conscious intention to let that go. That is a part of that follow-through process, a part of the awareness and being centered and focused on the actual energy as it processes through and transitions outward. With the new moon and making those intentions originally of what we want to release and heal and let go of, as the full moon comes around, part of our ceremony and part of our intention and focus now is on really forgiveness. Allowing that to flow out. What did we learn through the lessons of letting that go? What are we replacing that with? What are we implementing now and filling that space with now that this is going, now that this is being let go? We also consciously understand there is an energetic exchange occurring to where if we are letting something go, there's now something we are receiving. So with this new energy and new love and new healing that we are receiving, what are we prepared to do now to put this into practice, a process, a new form of living, thus changing our behavioral patterns and our old ways of doing things into new, higher ways of loving and being more reflective of Mom and her example. So allowing yourself to really be in those moments today and sit with yourselves and feel that through and honor and respect that process. And then witness the energy that comes back to you when you choose to, burn the ceremony, release it, let it go, and acknowledge that process. Great, amazing awarenesses are coming for you. So trust Mom. She loves you all. We love you all. And we're so very grateful for everyone that continues to support us, that continues to, follow along and push forward on mission, growing yourselves and expanding and transforming everything that's in your contract, because you are all destined for greatness. So that all is possible. It's all given to you. You have to choose it. And Mom has nothing but the best in store for her children. So I love you all. Take care of yourselves and honor yourselves today.